Is the sports card investor card store Cards HQ going to fail? Specifically, is it going to fail based on their pricing model that Jeff came out in the last week or so and gave some context to? Because a lot of people think so. And in all honesty, when I first saw it, I thought their approach to pricing sounded very, very strange. Now, I want to share Jeff's comments with you in this video based on a live stream that he did with Neo Cards and Comics, Dustin the Sports Card Dad, and Flippin' Steve, because I want to hear what you guys have to say down in the comments below. It is, as I do always say, very, very bloody interesting. Now, this is Neo's recap of the situation that he put out a few days ago. The live stream was their live stream from a week earlier, if I remember correctly. But the comments from Jeff in this one in particular sound, a bit weird to me, because what he essentially came out and said within this video, based on a question from someone within the comments, was, well, we're not going to price things the way other stores price them. He essentially said, rather than bake in price into the price of the card within our store, we're going to list it at market value. And if somebody wants to negotiate, we're not going to negotiate. You either buy it for the price that we have listed or you walk away. And when I first heard those comments in some of the reels that Neo was putting out, it left me a bit weird, because I was like, well, how can a store, especially in the current climate of the economy and what the economy is going to look like for the rest of this year, how can a store comfortably say no to a customer that is willing to pay, right? How can you say no to a paying customer? Because what basically Jeff said was, if a card's worth $150 and they offer $130, we're going to say no. And that, again, just seems very strange to me, especially when you're looking at, all his overheads, all his fixed costs from, the rent, and then all the employees, and then the cost of the inventory itself. Is that something you can sort of afford to do, especially when you are a new store? And, he ended up giving a bit more context to in the interview itself that, Neo didn't post in his initial reels. And what Jeff basically says, in order to combat the fact that stuff might not sell, we're going to track every single card within our store. And if it's in our store for more than 30 days, we're going to then move it onto one of our online selling platforms. But it's just a weird one, because obviously in that lens, inventory is not going to stagnate too long. Maybe it sells slowly online as well, but I just still find it very odd that you can turn away a paying customer. And I'm really keen to pay close attention to this to sort of see if it actually works or not, because you guys will know card stores do that here in Australia. From what I understand, card stores do it in the US as well. They'll take a card, it'll be worth $150. They'll list it at $250 in their store, because it gives them the ability to haggle down to the selling price. But they're not looking to do that here. And one of the other reasons why Jeff, says he doesn't want to do that is because he wants this to be more of like a retail experience for, the mums and dads, in particular the mums that bring their kids into the store. They don't know about comps, they don't know about negotiating and all that kind of thing. So from his perspective, he doesn't want them to be paying overs for a card. Now, in my mind, I always thought stores would have some kind of margin baked in, but they wouldn't be listing things for such crazy prices. But that was one of the reasons why, again, that he said, he doesn't want to raise them too high, because he doesn't want, the mums and kids to get burned if they don't know about comps or they don't know to negotiate, which is, sort of fair. But again, can you comfortably turn away customers that are ready to pay, especially in the current economy? And that's what I want you guys to help me understand down in the comments below, because there's a few things that I've said before. I think when we've spoken about Jeff's store when he first announced it, that, seems pretty interesting. I like the innovation element. I've mentioned this before as well. I work in the innovation space. Yes, I am an auditor, but I work in the innovation space, and I'm all for disruption. I'm all for people doing things differently. So when he came out and said they're going to be an online store 24/7, they're going to have an in-store experience for international customers, I saw that and I was a little bit excited, to be perfectly honest with you, because I like people doing things differently, because that's how you get, better experience across the whole industry, because maybe it works. Other stores see similar things, and or they see it and they try doing similar things, amongst other things. He had all those breaking rooms. He's going to record his shows from there. I like the fact that he's doing stuff differently, but at the same time, whilst I'm a huge proponent of this kind of innovation and disruption and doing things differently, it seems like it's a bit much. And I feel like maybe they're trying to do too much too quickly. And, sometimes they say go big or go home and all that kind of thing. But, there's a bit of ignorance there. I don't know if that's the right word to use, but I feel like they don't know what they're getting into, just based on what we're hearing other people talk about that own stores and some of the questions they themselves are asking. It's like, well, what's going to happen here? And that's why I want to try and, watch it quite closely, in particular, the pricing model. And that's why this next week with the, the trade night they're doing for Culture Collision, and the fact that they're opening on February 3rd, I think I mentioned that earlier, we're going to see whether or not it's going to work pretty quickly, especially in the current climate, because not only will that pricing model, work or might not work, but when you've got such a large storefront for that region, are you actually going to get enough foot traffic to justify the size of his store? And I know Sports Card Radio have talked through that in detail and all that kind of thing, but inventory is difficult to move, especially with the price changes and all that kind of stuff that happens so frequently within our hobby. So the fact they're not going to negotiate just, again, leaves me a little bit uneasy, and I want to sort of see what happens next. But some of you guys would have caught me in the comments of Sports Card Radio last week where they themselves were talking about it, how, Jeff was a bit overconfident. And something tells me, now I'm pretty sure Jeff has come out and said he's doing this on his own, but something tells me he's got a partnership in the background, because when I look at that ignorance or when I look at that overconfidence, I feel like he is in a safe to fail environment, that he can do all this sort of stuff. He can go big or go home because there's a safety net in there in some capacity, or he's got, an alignment with Fanatics, with the Pokemon trading card company, with Disney for some of this, inventory that will mean he's maybe going to get special privilege over traditional stores. But maybe I'm wrong on that, but I just have this gut feeling. And I know, some others are thinking the same thing as well, but it just seems odd. Like, yes, he and his wife apparently are entrepreneurs and have been quite successful in the past and all that kind of thing, but maybe that's the reason why they are so confident, and maybe they're just trying to go for that positivity mindset. But me sort of seeing it and me seeing how big they're going and all the innovation they want to try and bring, I just feel like it's safe to fail. And I want to understand, why is he so confident? He can't just be confident because he's got a big platform and, they're trying to do a big store. But, I just feel like there's something else going on in the background. And I want you guys to sort of help me understand, or tell me your theories on that as well, because it just seems too safe to fail. And I can't, articulate it beyond that. But it's just a feeling I have. So I want to hear what you guys have to say, like I said. But, all in all, I think that pricing model is all well and good for him if it works. Maybe it works, maybe other stores start copying it. But I will say this as well. There's a reason why other stores are not doing that on the regular, right? There's a reason why most local card stores are pricing things the way they do, because they know foot traffic is slow. They know deals are few and far between, like for a lot of the time for some of these cards. And that's the reason why they sell a lot of their inventory, at shows or online and all that sort of thing. But maybe he knows something that everybody else doesn't. So share your thoughts down below. Like I said, I think, for the most part, I would imagine his store's going to be fine, because, again, he seems to be a very stubborn dude, as we've seen with a number of mistakes he's made in the past, and he's sort of doubled down on them and kept being him. So that's all good for him, I guess. But, I feel like we're maybe going to get into some kind of deep waters in a few months' time where this thing struggles very quickly. And, I obviously don't want to see that. You can say what you want about Jeff. Even me, myself, he's done a lot of things that I think are quite bad, in my opinion. There's things that he's done that I don't agree with. There's a lot of things, actually, and there's a lot of things that I wish he handled a lot better. But from my perspective, say what you want about him, but I never wish failure upon anyone. And, purely for the community aspect, I hope it succeeds, because, like I said, people are going to have new jobs. That's going to do well for the, community in that respect. It's going to have more opportunities for kids, and we sort of need more things like that. We need more of these card stores uplifting things to give us the same experiences we had at card stores when we were kids. So, again, keen to hear what you guys have to say, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.